afternoon. Regenesys Business School has a global presence in South Africa, Nigeria, and Mumbai, with an alumni database of 190,000 students in 20 countries. We're one of the leading private business schools in South Africa, known for our vision of holistic human development in areas of spiritual quotient, emotional quotient, intelligence quotient, and physical quotient. Today, we celebrate, in keeping with this holistic human development, phenomenal women who have traversed challenges in issues of gender equality, economic equality, and work-life balance. And they're going to share pearls of their wisdoms on how they've conquered the arenas that they play in and dominate in, as well as have been pioneers in these sectors of their industry. This panel needs no introduction, but I'd be failing in my duty if I didn't introduce them. Our facilitator for this afternoon needs no introduction, but I think each one, if we wave as I get to you, so people can just see your beautiful faces and your radiant beings today as you shine forth. Our facilitator this afternoon is Basetsana Kumalo. She's a renowned TV personality, CEO of Connect TV. She owns many businesses and is a former Miss SA. The next panel, I'm going to move on to our panelists, Mama Chaka, who needs no introduction in Africa, known as Princess of Africa, phenomenal music career, but more than that, she's been quite a humanitarian that has served society through her music career in areas of poverty and education, as well as in health and holistic development as well. I'm going to move across to Professor Monica Singer. And Professor Singer has started off her career and skyrocketed in CSD, which is South Africa's Central Securities Depositories, for over 20 years as CEO for them, really transitioning the JSC through straight from doing 50, if I'm correct, 50 transactions per day to 250,000 using technology and forward thinking. Dr. Penny Law. Dr. Penny Law is one of the founders of Regenesys and Dean at the Regenesys Business School. Dr. Penny Law is one of the most courageous women that I've had the opportunity to work with. She's an entrepreneur at spirit. Her ethics and her diligence to walk the straight and narrow amidst a chaotic world is unbelievable. So she would bring into this the core of what Regenesys stands for from an ethical foundation in leadership. Janine Hills. Janine has spent a lifetime in hospitality and communication. She's been an ambassador that has really brought attention to the companies that she's worked at. So it's no wonder that Janine decided to quit all of that and become the founder and CEO of Authentic Leadership, because that's really what's defined her journey throughout her different careers that she's been related to. Sindi Tshabalala. Sindi, sorry for that. Sindi Tshabalala. She's currently the president of Circle of Global Business Women. Sindi, CA by profession, former group CEO of Edison Power, one of the first women to take the helm of power and energy to a different level on our landscape, and has expanded from South Africa to Africa, now in United States as well. Totsie Memela-Khambula is the CEO of SASSA. Totsie, as well as senior executive, leader, value creator, and a turnaround strategist. She's an experienced CEO that has held many, many, many industries, from banking to operations and management experience. And without much ado, I'm going to hand over now to Basetsana to what promises to be a lively, dynamic discussion with women leaders that I look up to, that will inspire those that are joining us. We have just under 1,000 attendees that's joining us this afternoon, women, to listen to your inspiring journey. And I think we can actually look forward to listening to stories from today's panel of people that have changed their lives based on what they hear from you. Basetsana, over to you.
Thank you very much, Indrani. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join this webinar that Regenesys Business School has hosted in celebration of Women's Month. This is an important conversation that we'll be having this afternoon with our esteemed panel of absolutely brilliant expertise and experts. Some of these women I look up to, some of them are my mentors, and some of them really have literally lifted me in my journey as a businesswoman. I was Totsie, I was Sindi, I was Yvonne. So we come a long way. And these are women who believe in supporting other women, in lifting other women. And so this afternoon, before I let our esteemed panel kickstart, just to give us just a minute or two background about themselves, perhaps I thought it would be important just maybe to premise our conversation with this reality that right around the world, women in leadership are stepping up to the challenges of leading our rapidly changing world with clear direction and a core purpose. In celebration of Women's Month, Regenesys Business School is of course hosting this webinar to honor remarkable South African women leaders with the ability to lead by making conscious decisions and choices about why, when, how, and where to lead. We know that the future, after 2020 is going to demand a new type of leadership, very different from the command and control of the past, but focused on clarity and confidence to act. In addition, we have a climate change, health, environmental degradation, changes in the age demographics, a shortage of talent, the virtual management of production and employee contributions, and express train development of new technologies. So this new type of leadership, ladies, and I'd like to believe some gentlemen are with us, this new type of leadership requires the ability to be clear about these choices to help women to achieve greater heights and success as leaders and as just individual people and as persons. So it really requires a comprehensible purpose, goal, and objective for leadership focused on resilience, leadership focused on courage, flexibility, listening, empathy, collaboration, emotional, spiritual intelligence, caring, and recognition of the collective. And so these were traditionally rewarded or regarded rather by the old school as feminine management characteristics. But women face multiple forms of discrimination related to poverty, to race, to disability. So leading with purpose, ladies and gentlemen, and motivation and intention, women need to strive to make a difference in vulnerable and marginalized populations. And in small businesses, we all need to understand this new type of leadership directed to clear goals and objectives. With that short remark, let me welcome our panelists. Indurani has done a stellar job of introducing each and every one of them. This is a truly esteemed panel of women, of great leaders, of world shakers, of history makers. May I now invite Professor Monica Singer just to introduce herself and just to give us a word or two about yourself and the work that you do. Professor Singer, are you on mute? Please unmute yourself. All right, while Prof is working on unmuting herself, let's move on. I invite Dr. Penny Law, the co-founder, director, and dean of the Regenesys Business School. Dr. Law?
Hello, everyone. You've already introduced me quite well, and Indrani as well. So it's such a great pleasure to be here with all of you today, especially these amazing women. It's really inspiring. I'd like to know how many men there are in the audience. I hope that it's not just women dominated, but that we have a good show of men as well. You know, we started Regenesys about 22 years ago, and it was founded by Marco Sharavanya, Vivian, William, and myself. And what kept us going throughout all these years is purpose. And I think that's what today's seminar is about. leading with purpose. And hopefully, as the seminar unfolds, I'll have the opportunity to talk more about what that means to lead with purpose. The other thing that I'd also like to talk about is having a particular kind of mindset. And that mindset is the one that will drive success, especially during times of crisis. So I'd like to acknowledge all the people who are going through a difficult time, you know, especially the women who have to take on so many multiple roles during this time of lockdown. And I really hope that today's session will provide useful insights and tips on how to navigate this challenging period and also harness other future crises as well.
Great, thank you, Dr. Law. Professor Singer, are you unmuted?
Hi, Batsy. We had a bit of a technical Wi-Fi instability issue in Cape Town. Professor Singer is trying to get back on.
All right, we'll
move
keep
around the
moving.
panel.
Yes. No need to introduce this doyen humanitarian singer, one who has a passion for human rights, and she's used her voice to really amplify struggles. She's used her voice to magnify the challenges that our people are facing, whether in the continent with the malaria program, and a lot more. Also, Yvonne, Chaka, please may I ask you to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Basi, and all the phenomenal women who are here today, who, as Basi said, some are like mentors to me, some are friends. Basi is just one of those beautiful kids. I call her a kid because I'm a big sister, who just grown to be a phenomenal woman. You know, Totsie, Janine, everybody, Sindi. I think Indriana, you could not have chosen great women like this today to be talking, you know, and sharing their ideas with different people. And so I just want to say thank you very much for doing this. And how does one define leading with purpose and women of purpose and their powerful support networks? For me, firstly, it's women leading with purpose and women leading with the great spirits out there. It's women of strength, women of power, women of leadership, but above all, it's women of authority. What is authority? You have to look first at yourself and say, am I practicing what I preach? Am I being a mentor to others? Am I, when I'm going up on a ladder, pulling that ladder down or pushing it down or bringing other women? So I just want to say, with that introduction, thank you to all these women who, when they climb up the ladder, they make sure that they lift their hand to pull others up. So let's continue doing that before we go on. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Yvonne. May I ask Janine Hills, the founder and CEO of Authentic Leadership, to introduce her fine self.
How are you? How are you today, everybody? Everyone's looking so stylish. We were laughing early on, and I'm sure half the people that have dialed in today, I hope you all haven't got your pajamas on because we were mocking each other earlier on. So we especially all got dressed up, bit of makeup, and we're all looking glamorous. It's Women's Month, and we get to celebrate our lives. I think we have to be grateful for our lives, our health, our beauty, and I think there's so much, Basi, that we've got to be so grateful for in these challenging, unpredictable, unprecedented times that we as leaders have got a huge responsibility to lead people. And those of us that are strong spiritually, those of us that are strong internally, are able to harness that and help others around us when we have those weak moments. So authentic leadership, I mean, having been the founder of a reputation management, the first reputation management in Africa, and having worked in corporate and government for a lot of part of my life, it's been a privilege for me to open a new company just recently, and obviously my colleagues on board here know about it. It's a company, reputation management in a different way, and that is about saying, how do our authentic leaderships skills start really coming through to the power? And it's definitely going to require women leaders to come through. We're going to need honesty, integrity, transparency, reliability, and consistency, you know, Basi, because if we don't have those things in the change of evolution of the innovation that is coming through at such a rapid rate, and we don't connect as well from a humanitarian point of view, and we don't remember that there's human beings involved in this process, I think a lot of people are going to be left behind. And I really call out to everybody and all of us women to lead with that passion of bringing people through with us in a humanitarian, caring way, because we're going to need it more so than ever before.
Wow, thank you so much, Janine, for those really thought-provoking ideas. You know, it's all about leading with a conscience, and that is what's going to make our world a better place. That is what's going to make impact to society at large. So thank you so much for those inspiring words. Sindi Tshabalala with the Fascinator is the president of Circle of Global Business Women. Please introduce your gorgeous self.
Thank you very much, Basi. I'm so excited today to connect with such powerful women. And it's not by coincidence, because we connected spiritually long time ago. This is what Regenesys does, because we are spiritual beings and we always connect. And that's what authentic leadership is all about, because you must find your inner being so that you'll be able to translate that inner being into reality. And this is very powerful. Thank you, Rani, for the introduction. I do have an accounting qualification, but I'm not a CA. Thank you very much. I just want to correct that. With me, what is very powerful about leading with purpose, it's about connecting with your sisters in the marketplace. I'm what I am today because of Janine, because of Basi, because of Sis Yvonne, because of Sis Totsie, because when I was a young executive at F&B, I used to run to Janine and Sis Totsie and say, but I don't understand this, I'm quitting. I said, no, hold on. And today I'm a gentle giant because they were my keeper. And I think this is what we need to actually do in the marketplace, to be our sisters' keepers, so that all of us in the marketplace will be able to thrive. I mean, as the president of the Circle of Global Business Women, it's a network of global women that are innovative, that are intelligent, but connecting with other women globally, where we talk about leadership, quality leadership, authentic leadership. But what we're doing is we're supporting one another globally to make sure that we thrive in terms of our leadership, but not forgetting that, Basi, we still need our brothers, because they must assist us to break that glass ceiling. So we can't compete with men. We must work with men to assist us and change the marketplace and change the status quo globally. Thank you very much. I'll end there.
Thank you so much, Sindi. I absolutely love your passion. And you've always been that passionate leader throughout the years of me working with you and knowing you personally. Totsie, Memela-Khambula, CEO of SASSA, another one of my mentors. A business doyen, a woman who truly leads by example. She brings us others along, and it includes me as well. I've learned a lot under her tutelage. Totsie, please can I hand the floor to you?
Very good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here, and it's a privilege to be sharing this 1.5 hours with the people that have been able to log in, but also with these awesome sisters and leaders and coaches that I've known for many years. When I was reflecting on what it is that one needs to bring is, with us at SASSA, this is a very difficult time for us. It's a difficult time because many people that we serve are going through a number of challenges. So we have actually not just the people that we serve, but we now have a whole range of other clients, because many people have lost their jobs. And now we need to make sure that we are able to provide the support that people need during this difficult time. And when I was reflecting on what exactly is what we refer to as a purposeful life, is when one is moving through a big goal in one's life that aligns with one's values, passion, and makes one happy. And one would ask, why would you be happy during such a difficult time? But one gets very happy when you know that as you do what you do, as you wake up in the morning, you're serving the vulnerable, which is what we and the 8,000 people in SASSA do. We've actually lost a number of colleagues over the past few months since the start of COVID. We've lost over 10 employees, and many actually fell as they were serving the poor. We call each other the soldiers of the poor because the work that we do is about serving. And one needs to find one's purpose in life if one needs to live with passion. I remember a time when I was young, I used to serve in a different environment where I was in the underground movement. And at the time, my focus was to say, I'm serving the millions because I want to create a better life for South Africa. I continue to serve in a different space, serving as a developmental activist to make sure that we create a better life for all our people, especially the vulnerable. Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you so much, Totsie. What a brilliant introduction and opening remarks from yourself. Let me just check, is Dr. Penny Law, we've spoken to Professor Monica Singer online. And Rani, do we know if she managed to log in?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. Take it away, Prof.
Okay, sorry, my Wi-Fi wasn't working upstairs, so I came downstairs, now it's working. So thank you very much, Regenesys, to give me this opportunity. First, I have to tell you that many of you are, for me, a guiding light. I feel very blessed. I don't know if you can see from my accent, I am originally from Uruguay. I emigrated to South Africa when I was very young. I ran away from home and I came to South Africa at a very difficult time in 1983, and I thought God punished me for having run away. And then I was able to see the miracle that this country has become. And for me to be today amongst all of you, it's really more than an honor. Yvonne, Chaka, you don't understand how I feel to be in the same panel with you. It's like, oh my God, someone pinch me and kill me. So really, no, you don't understand. You're a hero, you're everything for me. And I love being South African, and everybody can tell you that this is the only country I'll ever want to live in. We are amazing people. We are human. We are caring. We are loving. We make a plan. We don't cry over spilled milk. We just get going. And therefore, that is everything that I am. But the one message that I want to give everybody that is listening that we never talk about, and that's because I had to live very, very difficult moments in my life, and that is that there's a saying by Rumi, and Rumi is a poet that he lived thousands of years ago. And he said, when I was young, I wanted to go and save the world. When I became wise, I realized that the only person that I could actually save and help and change was myself. So what I'm really trying to tell you is that I went on many journeys and many adventures to try and save the world in many ways. But eventually, I realized that what I was running away was from myself. So, you know, that concept of the road less traveled. The road less traveled is that journey that takes you inside your soul, and you have to confront your demons, and you have to go and heal one demon at a time, because if not, you're never going to be whole either, or you're going to get so sick because your soul will self-destroy by the fact that you neglected to look after yourself. And looking after yourself means exercise, eating healthy, sleeping, and especially women, we tend to look after absolutely everybody, but we never have time for ourselves. We are an afterthought. And I had brain tumors, I survived many operations, and all of these challenges that happened amongst all my successes was because the body was saying, oh, really? What do you think? You're Superwoman? I don't think so. So eventually you have to stop and breathe and say, okay, Monica, this is your time. So don't wait too long to make it your time, because even though you'll never achieve work-life balance, make time for you, because it's like in the plane, they tell you that if the oxygen mask drops, you first put the mask to yourself and then to anybody else. And this is the message I want to have for all of you. Please look after yourselves first. And then the other thing, just want to make a little comment, is not leading by consciousness, is for me leading by with love. You know, when everybody says, what is the most important thing that a leader must have? I always say love. Because if you love yourself, if you love others, if you love your country, if you love nature, then you're going to nurture it and look after it. And therefore, I think love is the key that join us together. And that's it for me.
Thank you so, so much, Prof. Wow. Very, very powerful insights. And you're quite right. South Africans as a people, we are resolute, we are courageous, we are resilient, and we've traversed many, many challenges to be a society that we are today. I just want to pick up from you, Prof, because you've mentioned this already. The work-life balance, currently now we are challenged. We have to work from home. And inevitably, especially in my life, I just find that I don't stop working. From morning, homeschooling the children, making lunch in between, then getting into my study, doing my work, finishing my work around 8, 9, having had to make dinner as well. So what advice would you have for us in terms of just finding that balance where one can be able to work but still live and look after oneself?
So the one thing that I've learned is that I wake up early. So for example, between 5 in the morning and 8 in the morning, this house is mine. Everybody's either sleeping or not here or whatever. So those are my 3 most precious times in the day where I can think, I can meditate, I can read, I live in Cape Town, I can look at the ocean, I can drink my coffee in peace. So even if you have to sleep a little bit less, but have a time of the day that you tell the world, this is me time. In the same way, I'm a chartered accountant, so in the same way that I advise women always to pay themselves first when the salary comes in, and paying first means have your own bank account in your own name where you will put your savings first, then pay everybody else. And the same for time. Allow yourself an hour, let's say, 1 hour, 2 hours a day, even if you sleep less, that it belongs to you, and you are religious about this. You will tell the whole world, kids, husband, whatever, sorry, this is me time. And then you will fight to keep me time 100% for you.
Wow, great. Thank you so much for that advice. I'm going to pose a question on how female leaders and the business environment been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Perhaps if I can ask Dr. Penny Law to take that question for us.
So female leaders have been affected dramatically because, as I said earlier on, women are required to play multiple roles. And I think it's really hard. You know, women have to be the mothers, they have to be professional workers, they have to be makeshift hairdressers and doctors and teachers. And I think it's created a lot of strain for women themselves and particularly in the home environment. I think it's also influenced businesses in a particular way where it's, you know, people are so uncertain about their future and the future of the business. And this uncertainty creates this fear that can be quite crippling. And I think it's really important for women to therefore adopt a very particular mindset that will help them to release ourselves. And I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about us as human beings. We need to release ourselves from this fear that cripples us. And I'm reading this book called Mindset, and it's by Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck. And she talks about having 2 types of mindsets. One is a growth mindset and one is a fixed mindset. And you know, we say that we need to have resilience and compassion and operate with SASSA and all those good things. And I support that. But it has to come from a particular mindset. So the way to embrace this change and overcome this fear is to enter this with a growth mindset, where we can become adaptable, where we can become resilient. And in so doing, we're able to traverse this very, very challenging time of uncertainty.
That's quite right, Doc. You know, fear is indeed crippling. It is stifling. It holds us back to realizing our full potential, because we think, what if I fail? I live off the premise daily that I'd rather try something and fail spectacularly at it than not to try at all. and live a life of regret and wonder if I should have, what could it be? The time is gone. So, so I love your idea on how we should focus our mindset on the growth strategy in terms of where we find ourselves in society and in the world with the pandemic. Also, Yvonne, as a woman, what and how are you making conscious decisions and choices about why, when, how, and where to lead?
I think, you know, Basi, as women, there's a lot that we're tasked with, you know, managing multiple tasks, achieving deadlines, achieving objectives, being mothers, and wanting to be everything to everybody. I think everything should begin in our households. When you have a support system from your home, everything becomes very easy because, you know, not everything is on your shoulders. You're given a chance to be a mother. You're given a chance to be you. You're given a chance to be a wife. You're given a chance to be a musician or a leader or a CEO of a company. So if the foundation from the home, it's not strengthened, that becomes a problem. You know, Sindi was saying we need our male counterparts. Yes, we do. We need our male counterparts because we're not here to compete. We need to work with our male counterparts in every sphere, whether it's fighting for gender equality, whether it's fighting for pay gaps and things like that, because we're not here to compete, but to complete each other. So when you know and are happy with what you are and who you are, you never try anything else. You are content with who you are because you know where you're coming from and where you are going to. In fact, I just want to say, you know, there's a sense of mission, of purpose, you know, and a calling. You know, you need to, not everybody around here is a Christian, but we're all binded by spirits. So you need to say, my spirit or whoever I believe in is going to give me the strength to be what I want to be. It doesn't matter where you come from. Something at the back of your mind says, somebody out there is looking out for you.
Wow, that's so powerful. Because indeed, we are spirit beings, and we need to have the intuition to listen to ourselves and to be still, because I find that in stillness, I get even more creative when I take the time to be still and hear and be present. Janine, maybe you can reflect for us as a woman leader. What does it mean for you to lead with purpose during times of crisis?
Thank you, Basi. You know, that's a common question that I'm getting. So it's thank you so much for asking it, because it's so relevant where we are at the moment. We all have our skills, but what we've had to really do is diversify those skills. And that's in all business, in government. I talk about our government leaders. I talk about on the continent as well. And so in our communities, whether you're running small to medium-sized businesses, whatever you're doing, you've got to be able to diversify those skills. But at the same time, we've got to balance our time with home. And I always say, let's look after the people close to us. We can't be everything to everybody. So I always, you know, people that are very close to me, I mean, Totsie will know this, is like my helper. I mean, like Sharon that looks after me. I can't do anything without Sharon. And, you know, I think we forget about sometimes the people that make our lives tick. And I think we've got to look after our people that are close to us, whether it's our gardener, whether it's our helper, of course, our family, that's given. But I think we forget about this poverty line, that we've got such a dramatic poverty line in our country, that we can effect change with each one of us that have employees that are in an unskilled labor base. And so, you know, a small thing that happened on Monday, it was on my prayer day, and my spiritual teacher said, on this day, please do something special. And you know, yes, you're part of NGOs, and she happened to ask me over the weekend, can I buy your washing machine? And I went, I'll give it to her. You cannot believe the difference that it's made in her life, Bassie. You know, it's become a status thing for her. It made her life easier because she didn't have to wash the washing of the husband and the two boys and the incredible family with cold water with her hands anymore. It's lifted her up. And all I'm saying is, it's the small things sometimes we forget, and that just take that time out, like you say, and just connect and make sure that those around us are well cared for and even have a plate of food on their table.
That is so powerful. You know, it's in the acts of small and kindness is revealed. You know, those acts of kindness really impact people's lives. And what you did, for example, I mean, you've helped a family, and you know, you've lessened the burden of the woman in the family to be able, and that is so important. And I think, you know, we always need to look at, how can I give kindness? How can I give back? How can I do good by the next person? And if we have that spirit as human beings, as women, as leaders, it just makes the world a better place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sindi with the fascinator. Sindi, in your organizational environment, how important is it for you to lead with a clear direction?
Very much, Bassi. This is a very important question that you have asked. And I think I'll refer back as a daughter of a bishop, because at times these things, they come up in a platform. You know, if you look at Judges 4, verse 4, we see Deborah. Deborah was a woman of vision. And Deborah, at that time, she was a judge. Guess what? Deborah was the one that released the children of Israel. And Moses led. And now the important thing of leadership is to be a woman of vision. Because when you have a vision, you see the invincible. When you have a vision, you hear the inaudible. When you have a vision, you think the unthinkable. When you have a vision, you do the impossible. That's what
preach, sister,
all
preach.
About.
Preach, sister, preach.
That's what leadership is all about. Because now we're talking about the crisis that we have at the moment. I mean, in COVID-19, I know all of us as women entrepreneurs, we have anxiety that our businesses are not working. But what is important is the originality and also the authentic leadership that my sister Janine spoke about. We must rise above the board. As what Dr. Penny said, it's about the mindset. We need to shift our mindset. The thinking must be positive so that the negatives around you, you rise above them as a woman leader, because what keeps you awake is your vision. But if you don't have a vision, you won't be able to rise above the board. So what I would like to encourage is, I would like to encourage women out there to sit and think about their vision. What is their vision on the new normal? Definitely you can work from home. We are working from home. We are having a conference from home. There's nothing impossible. But also, Bassi and my colleagues, and my colleagues that are listening in the platform, what is important is to adapt to change. If you resist change, you will never be able to lead, because change needs people that are flexible, so that you go with the tidal wave and lead, because there are those that will have the doubting Thomases along the way. But when you stand up and say, I'm here and I'm going to lead, this is what we have done with the Circle of Global Business Women. In the midst of the storm, we are connecting with women globally, and we are leading with the country chairs across Africa, across the globe. Just yesterday, I was sitting in a global platform with women from Russia, women from Germany, women from Australia, just sitting and talking about the same challenges that we're raising here today. So leadership, you must have a vision, and you must be original. Don't be a copycat. I'd like to urge women, just be authentic, be who you are, and you thrive in everything what you do. Thank you very much, Bassi.
Thank you so much. You're looking really fabulous. I love what you're saying, Sindi, that we have to be adaptable to change, because change is really the only constant. And we can't be afraid of change. We have to embrace change if we have to move forward. We have to move our countries forward, our economies forward. We have to find new ways of doing things to be able to sustain, whether our businesses, even, you know, nuclear families. So change is really, really an important aspect that we all perhaps should take to heart. So thank you for that input. Totsie, may I ask you, what are we missing out on by not maximizing the talents of both genders?
I think what I've learned, I mean, there was a time when I only focused on mentoring only younger women because I always thought it was important for them not to make the mistakes that I've made in the past. And I remember a time when I was working as MD of Postbank, one of my colleagues said, is currently the acting MD, he said to me, why is it that you focus on women and you forget that we exist? And I think this is one thing that sort of opened my eyes, that made me realize that in many instances, we tend to want to do things, when we're looking for teams, we look for people that look like us or that have the same energy like us, and forget that strength is in diversity. And the fact that strength is in diversity means that we constantly have to look for people that don't necessarily look like us, but that don't also always agree with us in terms of what are the things that we think are important. And it's always very challenging because it's much easier when you resonate towards people, because it therefore means that the energy is the same. But the challenge is to make sure that you push yourself and you look for the difference and make sure that you bring those others into the fore. And for me as a mother that has had boys only, it was quite interesting to see how different I had to rise because of having to being a single parent and having to bring up boys, which is always very, very challenging. And for me to get the balance, the opportunity was to find a girl child to be able to balance and see how different they are. But that was a very interesting journey. So we always have to look for those young men in our midst that also need the support that we can provide them, because in many instances, boys are always told, boys don't cry. Therefore, in many instances, they don't have that support environment. And when they are amongst young men like them, they don't get the support, the coaching, the mentoring that they could potentially get from men and women. And for me, what has driven me over the years is making sure that I lift as I rise, and I don't choose as to who I lift, but make sure that around the table that I'm at, there's always people that don't always look like me. And for me, that has been the journey in terms of how I've been pushing myself. And it's really been a privilege, but also I think in terms of what we need to do now, I mean, I had a very interesting concept of adaptability in Vuka. And Vuka in Zulu means awakening. But in terms of the times now is we need to adapt to the volatile environment, to uncertainty that we're going through, the complex environment, and the fact that our lives are now very ambiguous. But that's the opportunity we have to grow through this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Totsie, for your insights. And indeed, there is strength in diversity. And I think it also needs to start from bringing up our children, our girl children and our boy children as equals. I have 2 boys and a little girl. And I make sure that the boys are the ones that are cooking with me and peeling and assisting in the kitchen. And my little girl, she likes cars, so, she must be an engineer. Because we also stereotyped our children by virtue of what society prescribes. But we need to be conscious parents as well to be able to prepare the leaders of the world, the leaders of the future. Every one of your children has to have those multiple skills. And so for me, I'm very enthused. And I know this personally with you, Totsie. You've always lived according to your dream and your purpose and your vision. You've lifted so many of us up. You held our hands because you want all of us to win. I want to go to, maybe let me pose this as an open question, and any of you ladies can pick it up. If I think about it, I'm thinking there's a lot that we need, but what new skills will all women leaders need to lead successfully and with purpose, regardless of gender in uncertain times? I'll open it to the floor.
I can say that I believe it's compassion. It's the concept of seek to understand before you understood. It's connecting with the collective pain that we are all going through. It's connecting with the fact that we have to, in these times, look inside, and we all finding things that we didn't like. We see in our own shadows, at least I am. And it's quite scary to see what comes out, and allow ourselves to cry if we have to. Because we are all, everywhere in the world, we're all going through this pain. You know, I'm a touchy person. I love human beings. For me, this pandemic of not being able I kiss people, I kiss everybody, I hug. You don't know what this is doing to me. I cannot touch human beings or hug them or kiss them. It's like, it's killing me. So this, I think, is a basic human need that we need to love and touch each other and kiss each other. And therefore, I think that we're all going through pain. So what I'm saying is that any macho that says, I'm fine, I can cope with this, they're not being honest. So if we all tap into compassion towards each other and ourselves, I think we're going to be stronger by that.
Wow, compassion, compassion, compassion. Thank you for taking that question. Ladies, we all have had life struggles, life obstacles. If any of you perhaps is willing to share, what has been that obstacle in your life and how did you manage to overcome it?
Totsie? I'll come through. I think I've had many struggles in my life, and the biggest struggle that I've had is having children that were battling with addiction. And they ended up being one particular one being an addict, which he still is. I have a son that lives in the street. Mm. And I think it was more because he was suffering from mental illness, not mental illness in terms of being mad as in mad, but because he could not manage stress, he ended up going into drugs. And because he went into drugs, he just couldn't get out of the drugs. And for 25 years, Lebogang has been living with addiction. And he's been out of the house for the past 7 years. And in some instances, he stays in the street. I mean, like in the middle of winter last year, he was living in the street. And much as it pains me, and because according to him, he is who he is because I left him when he was a baby. I left him when he was a baby because I went into the struggle. But believe you me, I would do the same thing even today. I believe there's many other children that have battled with all sorts of challenges, but it didn't mean that they needed to make the choices that he's made. And it's one thing for me to sit and feel guilty about the choices he's made. And he says, you left me when I was small, you felt that the millions in South Africa were more important than I was. And I say, the millions in South Africa are still just as important as you are. You can make the choices that you want to make and choose a better path. And the fact that because his father actually came from an addictive family, you can turn your life around. You don't have to continue with that cycle. And all of us have got lots of things that we battle with, but one has to make a choice and say, it stops here. And it's his choice when it's going to stop and where it's going to stop. So that's the struggle that I've had over the years, but I choose to stand up and to wake up and say, I have to make my own choices. I've got many other children that I need to take care of. And he has to make his own choices. So that's my struggle.
That's Totsie. Thank you for being so vulnerable with your story and your journey. And we honor you for that. We hug you and we bless you and your path. It's very, very bold, to share so openly with such a wide audience. But indeed, thank you so, so much. Mudima Belilona, as you traverse and move on with your son and your life. Sindi?
Thank you very much. I think for me, my struggles was when I was a young executive at First National Bank, where I struggled to actually understand, translate my theory learning of university into the practical language in the bank, because that was an extremely opposite way of doing things. But along the way, I can say I was privileged, because I met Totsie, I met Janine Hills, because Janine was like, Sindi, just catch a wake up. You must not think you must not be blindfolded. I'm like, what do you mean if you say I'm blindfolded, Janine? Can you answer me? And I'll be very, and Janine will say, go and take a glass of water. Come and sit in front of me. So we'll have these discussions and engagements step by step. I ended up understanding what it takes to be a young executive in the bank. And I used to come in the office at 6:30 in the morning. When everybody comes in, I'm already there. Same thing with Sis Totsie. I love Sis Totsie and Janine very much, because they've made who I am today. Because, First National Bank gets the credit of who I am today, because they gave me an opportunity with my mistakes as a young executive, with my arrogance as a young executive, but they gave me that platform to thrive, and they gave me sisters like them, because what they did is they lifted as they climbed. So they never left me alone in the ditch, but they actually made it sure that they rise with me. And hence again today, I'm with them in this platform. It shows that they were the sister's keeper. And I thank them today for what they did in my career when I was young. And I would imagine, Basi, if they were not there, I think I was not going to make it. I must be honest with you. I must really be honest with you. If they were not there in my life at that particular time when I was a young executive, every day I used to walk to Sis Totsie's office and say, I'm resigning. Thank you, Sis Totsie, for the love. Thank you, Janine, for the love. Thank you so much.
That's so awesome. That is so beautiful. And your energy is so infectious. And to have had the mentors like Janine and Sis Totsie is really a blessing. I see on our questions, there's one question from Gerald. I'm glad that we have a Gerald in the audience. So Gerald says, my 5-cent input as an individual, I am for women-owned initiatives and organizations. So many opportunities within cybersecurity, digital forensics, awareness training in corporates for staff. So he says, let's collaborate and make a difference out there. Here's Gerald saying, women, let's work together. Here's some of the ideas that we can certainly look into in terms of creating a new economy going forward. So thank you for that input, Gerald. So I'm just going back and forth into the room in terms of seeing also the questions so that we can continue to engage our audiences as well as they pose the questions to us. Yvonne, one of the things that I know about you is your heart to make a difference, your humanitarian work, the work that you've done across the continent, across the world, and indeed been decorated with the right deserving accolades from your journey. What would you say was a defining point for you in terms of a career path? When was it in your mind to say, this is what I'm going to pursue, and I'm going to pursue this relentlessly? What was that one turning point that got you to the success that you've become, and sustainably so, by the way?
Thank you, Basi. When Totsie was speaking, I had a lump on my throat. I think, we all aspire to be something. It doesn't matter where one comes from. You always say to yourself, I want to be something. So my mother wanted me to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a chartered accountant because at school I studied accounting. When you are that girl and you're having your 3 books, your journal, your ledger, and your cash book, you think you're great, you know. But music found me. And with that first single, I'm in love with the DJ, came the next one, and I thought there is longevity in this industry. If I have my feet firm on the ground, if I listen to those who came before me, if I accept that I don't know it all, then I'll make it. And because we plan things, but God knows our destiny, you know, things become what He wants them to be if you submit yourself to Him. Yeah. So being in the music industry for 35 years, when, by the way, other people had told me I couldn't sing, and I still made my money from singing. I became the face of F&B, working with Janine and everybody, working with Live Boy, encouraging people to wash their hands, just hygiene, and working with different organizations. Really, for me, I look back and say, as a 11-year-old, when my father died, never anticipated a better life, but I knew that, you know what, I have to work hard. And I must say, I give credit to my mother, who had 3 girls. My mother had 3 girls, and when our dad died at 11, she guarded us. She protected us. She never prostituted us. Today, as a 55-year-old, I look back and I say, thank you, Mom. I can stand tall as a woman that I am and say, I've done it my way because you were there to encourage me to go to school, acquire knowledge, and not aspire to get married. My mother said, marriage will come, my child, if it comes. But be independent, be empowered, do things for yourself, because that man that you're going to get married to has fathers, has mothers, has an extended family that he must look after. So be you. But if you do get married, respect your husband, cook for your husband. And so my mother was ahead of her time, even though she was not educated. So I look back and I say, I've done it my way. And I want to say to Totsie and to everyone, you know, it is important for all of us to accept and embrace change, because it's important to give birth to new ideas. It doesn't matter where you come from, you know, what you've gone through, your social and your economic status, none of that matters. What matters is how you choose to love, how you choose to express that love through your work, through your family, through everything that you have, to give it to the whole world. So I think this is what all we women are doing here.
Wow. Power to those words. I mean, I almost want to clap. Yeah, Janine, we can clap, right? Oh, awesome. Dr. Lowe, may I ask this question, may I pose this question to you? What impact does the new digital revolution has brought about by the pandemic, and what impact it has on women as leaders?
It's had a massive impact. You know, it's forced organizations to relook at themselves and to pivot, and to look at how they can reinvent themselves so that they can be viable and sustainable. You know, during this time, if I take Regenesys, for example, we set up a whole new business unit because of the pandemic. You know, we were blessed in the sense where we were able to transition online quite swiftly, because we already had that capability, but we realized that there was an opportunity to actually grow this online business. So we set up a new online education business, looking at developing courses that can prepare people for the future, such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, data science, and so forth. And so, you know, this whole digital revolution provides women with an opportunity to explore new spaces and to recreate themselves. Yeah. Thank you,
Doc. I also just want to pose this question. This is also going to be open to the floor, so any of us ladies can certainly pick it up. And the question is, how should women deal with multiple forms of discrimination related to poverty, race, disability, and gender inequalities?
Sure. Bassi, I'll start a little bit, just quickly.
Thank you.
I think, no, thank you. I think it's a very important question, and I think it's something we deal with every single day, you know, and whether it's a gender issue. You know, the one thing I've had to learn, Bassi, in corporate and in government, and that is to take it head on. You know, I still, I mean, as a 55-year-old woman, I still get called girly. I mean, it floors me. You know, I sent a proposal to a gentleman the other day, and I mean, he comes back and calls me lovey, you know, lovey and sweetie. You know, that's not going to wash with me, you know. So you know, the way I deal with it, to be honest, and I mean, people might laugh at me, I'm sorry, and I humbly apologize if I offend anybody, but, you know, Bassi, that offends me. So I'm a professional, and I'm a woman, and I've been around the block, and I think I've kind of earned a couple of my pips. You know, I'm certainly not the best in everything, and I'm learning, and I'm merely a student, and but please give a little bit of, you know, due where due. My name is Janine Hills, and so I very nicely say to people, would you mind? You know, I'm not your darling, I'm not your sweetheart, I'm not your lovey, and I'm a professional, and I think those are the things that we have to learn to have confidence within ourselves. It's not about us being rude. It is about being diplomatic. I think it's about choosing that time and space when you do that. I wouldn't do it in a main boardroom in front of 20 people and embarrass somebody else, but I would certainly take that person aside as an example. Open to the rest of the floor.
Power to Janine. Power to Janine. Anybody else who wants to pick it up?
I think, you know, Bassi, with me working in an industry where it's male dominated, you know, being a musician, I mean, I work in different sectors, and I think all these things should start in our homes. I was very happy that you say the boys help you peel, and our little darling plays with the cars. We shouldn't, it's in our homes that all these things start. There are no jobs for girls now, and there are no jobs for men. Anybody can be a camera operator. Now you can, if a lady is working in the studio and she's operating a camera, they call him a cameraman, and that's a woman. So she's a camera operator. So give her the due. If she wants to use a camera, a male counterpart will come and say, hey, can you use that lens? You know, you get patronized, and that should not be allowed. Yes, we know that a woman was taken out of a man's rib, but not to be trampled upon, not to be abused, but to be loved. So we need to allow our femininity, but not want to be men and act like men. We need to be firm and say we are agile and we are competent in our spaces, and take our space and be what we are meant to be. Remember, there were women like Nongawus, Chief Swakoko, Mujaji. Women have always been in a powerful space. What has made men to want to kill us now? Femicide, gender-based violence, and all those things. So it begins in our homes, it begins in our communities, it begins with the community at large.
Wow, that's absolutely powerful, Yvonne. And you know what is important as well as women to do is to show up at the table. And if nobody's going to pull out the chair for you, honey, pull the chair out for yourself and take your seat, because you've earned your place at the table. And you're right. I mean, there's a lot of patronizing of women in different sectors, and it's a reality that every single day we have to fight. We have to find that mindset. We have to fight that prejudice that gets thrown at us. Sindi, I think you want to weigh in on that.
Yes, I think this is really exciting for me, because what it means, it's about making sure that us as women, we take our rightful positions in the marketplace. I've been working in a male-dominated sector. I know what Janine is talking about. But I think the most important thing is we didn't have a lot of time to engage with our male counterparts. And also, what is very important, Basi, I think what I'm going to say today, some people would not understand why I'm saying it, but I'm going to say it. Leadership doesn't have gender. When you lead, you're a leader. And there's no gender there. If I have my male colleague who's an accountant and I'm an accountant, we are just the same. And the decisions that we're taking are the same. And the respect that my male counterpart is getting, I must get the same respect. So I must not be downgraded. But because now we're dealing with this thing, and I'm glad we're talking about these things. Thank you, Janine, for actually opening. And I think we need a very strong dialogue with our male counterparts in the marketplace to say, here we are your sisters. We want to work with you, embrace us, but don't call us girly. You know, there's last week somebody said in Zulu, lengane ncane. I'm like, I'm a grandmother today. Somebody calls me a young child. I have a grandchild in the marketplace. So what Janine has experienced, there's so many women that are experiencing such things. But I think it's about the ignorance as well, and also the patriarchy that is translated into the, what I can say, the marketplace that actually came from our homes, because the way that men were generally brought up at times, it becomes a challenge in the marketplace. So I think that's what we need to really look at and say, how do we deal with these issues? Hence, I'm saying, I'm not in competition with my brother. I don't want to be in competition with him. But what we are doing is we are working together. He must just give me that space so that at times I don't even, wait for an invitation into the table, but I say, I invite myself and sit in the table.
I love
that. Yeah, and I'll sit, and no one is going to move me into that table. So that's the way and the approach at times that we have to deal with these issues in the marketplace. And my brothers embrace me because they've seen that I'm there, and they cannot do anything. They must just move with me because I'm already sitting in the table, and I've invited myself in the table, and I'm taking my rightful position because it's my rightful position to sit in this table. That's why I'm inviting myself. And I think it's about the consciousness as well, to be aware in terms of leadership and the role that we need to play as women in the marketplace. We need to actually be head on, Janine, and I agree with Sis Yvonne as well. We need to tackle these issues. Basi, let me close with this one. I think for us as women as well, when we sit in boards, I've seen these mistakes. We don't have to be masculine. We don't have to behave like men in board meetings. Let us just be us, who we are. Because we are naturers, and that's the reason why we're sitting in those boards, to add value. But let us not change and become men in board meetings. Please, ladies, I'm begging you. Thank you very much.
We must wear those stilettos and the fishnets and the frilly blouse, because it's not what we look like, it's what we know. That we're smart, we're intelligent, we're educated. There's somebody who wants to weigh in on that question.
I also would like.
May I come through, Basi? I think the key is to call it what it is. Because in many instances, we can see that we're being put aside and we say nothing about it, and then we continue to just stay there. I mean, I remember a time when I was in the underground movement, and we used to have a lot of women that went for training. But for a long time, guess what the women in MK were called? They were called flowers of the roses. And in many instances, when men were sent inside the country to come and fight, women were told, you can't go in because you're a woman. It was quite interesting when a number of us challenged this and said, if they can go, there's no reason why we cannot go. So it's to call it what it is. And as my sister said earlier on, is to step in and say, I'm going to sit on this table and I'm going to serve and I'm going to make my own contribution. I remember another time when we were supposed to bring my husband inside the country, and I was pregnant at the time. I was 7 months pregnant. I had to come with a comrade who did not know the routes, who didn't know where to go, who was going to get us arrested. And he said, no, you can't go because you are pregnant and it's your husband. I said, well, here I didn't come as a wife, neither did I come as just somebody that is just coming along. I know the routes better than you do, and I'm stepping in and I'm going to do what I need to do. So it's for us to call it what it is and step in and say, I'm going to sit around this table because I have a right to, because I have a contribution to make.
And I also want to add, but
Go for it, Prof.
I just wanted to tell a little story. I sat in boardrooms for 20-something years, and I'm sure you know that what men love to do is they love to repeat whatever you just said. So you say something, and then they go and repeat it over and over again. So is it true? They always do that. So you know what I used to do? I would say, Mr. Chairman, I just said that. So can we add something new? So I'm sorry, it comes a time that because of the unconscious bias that we are facing in society, you have to confront them head on to say it's enough. You're not going to abuse me. You're not going to use my ideas. You're not going to make it as if it was yours. It is what it is, and we're going to talk about it. So I'm sorry. The sad part is that when you do that, men think that you're being aggressive. Oh my gosh, she's being a bitch. No, we're standing for our right, like the story we just heard. That's amazing, okay? Totsie knew the way better than anybody else. So why would she not be the one? So what I'm saying to all the ladies that are hearing this, when you see someone not giving you your right credit or space, like the book Lean In, that is amazing. What she's saying is that any opportunity, you sit at the table, you lean in, and you speak up. And if there's something wrong, you say so. You don't allow anybody to step on your toes.
Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, is really, really powerful. And I would advise any of us who have not read it, as women leaders, as businesswomen, to really, take the time to get a copy. Dr. Penny, may I draw you in on this particular question? What unique opportunities can disruption give female leaders to strategize and stay resilient, committed, and inspired?
Sorry, Basetsana, the sound went a bit funny. Won't you repeat?
Oh, okay. The question is, what unique opportunities can disruption give female leaders to strategize and stay resilient, committed, and inspired?
So to respond to this question, I actually support what Professor Monica Singer said early on. And, there was a meme that went around when COVID came about, and it said, if you can't go outside, go within. And I think the opportunity during this time and during this time of disruption is to go within and to focus on personal development and to look at what truly matters and who truly matters. The good thing about, or the negative thing about this whole pandemic is that we've become so isolated, but with technology, we're able to be so connected. And it's encouraging people to find ways to be able to develop themselves in spite of this time of isolation, and using this opportunity to take charge of our lives. I said early on that we're so crippled by our fears because we're uncertain about our future, we're uncertain about so many different things. But this is the time where we can really create our own reality. And it's an opportunity to look at how we can repurpose ourselves, to retrain ourselves so that we can create the reality that we want. So that's at a personal level. At a work level, it's to operate from that growth mindset where we embrace disruption. Often people, we have this fight or flight response, and when we are confronted with fear or uncertainty, then we tend to you know, to run away from that situation. And instead, we need to embrace it, to open ourselves up to new opportunities, and to see how can we really harness this. How can we make the most of this opportunity, and to overcome our self-limiting beliefs? Because often, and especially as women, you know, there's a lot of negative self-talk. You know, I'm not good enough. I'm not sure I can do this. And it's really, really important to overcome those self-limiting beliefs so that we can really embrace this age of disruption.
Now that's very important, because oftentimes as women, we suffer from this imposter syndrome, and we really continuously have to fight against that, because it's what also pulls us back to not realizing our fullest potential, because we don't think we belong. But of course we do. And you know, it's a continuous struggle that I think us as women continue to fight and to deal with on a daily basis. I would like to maybe invite Prof. Singer. This question, I think, if you can help us sort of decipher it, how will technology and work from home impact the way women conduct businesses, and how will it play a key role in leading future organizations?
The company I work for, Consensys, is the biggest blockchain company in the world, and we have worked remotely from day one. So the only thing that, and we have people all over the world. I think I'm the oldest person in the company, but I don't tell them. Only sometimes when they lose patience with me, you know, because they're all techies. So I will say, guys, I saw the first fax. Be patient, you know, like imagine I'm not a techie, and they're all young millennials changing the world. So it's hard sometimes, and I can see they roll the eyes when I talk because I'm so old, you know, but they don't see that I'm old. So that's the beauty. With technology, all these gender issues become a little bit more blurred. Do you see what I'm saying? Because imagine now we all, do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter like the way you dress. They're not looking at, you know, if I'm wearing khakis or if I'm wearing, I'm not wearing jewelry anymore. I don't, you know, dress. That's the one thing that it has done. It has, you know, the fact that we're all from different countries, different religions, because there's no water cooler where we meet to talk rubbish. Think about it. The time that we meet in Zoom, it's about work. And we don't really, there's no real small talk. Do you see what I'm saying? So everybody's very focused. So technology, in a way, has made us more, I think, more effective. You know, I find that the company I work for very efficient, because there's no, do you know the little things that happen in companies because of the chit-chat and the gossips and all of that is gone. There's no gossip. There's no measuring judge you how you dress, how you behave, because it's quite impersonal in a way, no? What you see, you don't know that I'm wearing my khakis and my gym clothes. You will think that I'm wearing, you know, professional clothes. It's just a jacket. So do you understand how the game has changed? Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I find technology amazing. And I know that, and for example, in the company I work for, what they do is that they have twice a year get together so that you get to bond. But the truth is, during the year, while we're working, we just work. So all the other nonsense is gone. So I don't know if that helps. And that's why I love technology, how it's become much more practical. Everything is faster, simpler, more transparent. You know, it's very transparent because we use a technology called Slack, where you put everything that you're talking about, everybody can read. So there's no, you know, hiding behind, you know, I only tell my friend, or, you know, I lie to this one and I say something else to someone else. Everything is totally transparent. So that, as you can see, what I'm saying is that I find that the games that people play have been reduced by the fact that we are now working with technology remotely. That's my experience.
No, that's actually quite true, because I mean, I found that not even have to be in traffic has given me more hours to be more productive. You know, this chit-chat, this Monday water cool chit-chat about what happened over the weekend. No, there's none of that. When we get into the Microsoft Team meeting or Zoom meeting, the agenda is on and we all become productive and we have tangible outputs. And I found that personally, I've been able to deliver so much more in terms of my various businesses, because I'm so focused and so present. There's no distractions. And you mustn't worry that, are you wearing the Louboutins or not? I mean, really,
exactly.
You know?
That's exactly it. But the main thing is also to encourage your team to open the Zoom video. Because you know what, I don't think it's right that they don't connect in the video. There has to be, for many reasons, I really don't find acceptable when my team you know, it's not putting the video on, you know. I don't care if the cupboard behind them looks terrible. I'm not going to judge them, I don't care. And with Zoom, you can put a little background or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that encourage the team to be there, to be able to see them, you know. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ladies, I'm just looking at our clock. Perhaps if we may just take a round robin of inputs, of remarks from each and every one of our esteemed panelists.
Can I come through, Basi? I think,
sure.
And this is just after what Prof has just said. What I'm finding, and my sister had to caution me to say, do you realize that you don't greet people anymore? You get into the focus of what the meeting is all about, and you're not greeting to find out how people are. And I think that is also important for us to just connect before the meeting actually starts, and also continue to connect with self. For people like me, whom I call BBC, which is born before computers, what becomes critical is for one to do what I call digital diagnosis, to say, where are my skills lacking so that I can be able to operate in this digital world and be able to engage with the people that I engage with and also be effective. And also managing people digitally is a bit of a challenge because that's not what we used to. We're used to connecting with people. So that's another critical skill that we need to learn. How do you manage people that are not in the office for you to connect with, but also make sure that the work that needs to be done get done? Thank you, Basi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for weighing in on that, Totsie. Perhaps it's just as a final closing question, and then each and every one of our panelists can then respond to that. What would be your advice to the aspiring women leaders who are looking up to you today and have looked up to you in your different spaces? What would that advice be from each and every one of you? Maybe I could call out the names. Dr. Love, you can go first.
I just wanted to comment on the last thing, you know, about women and the whole digital world. So, you know, I'm sure many of you feel zoomed out. You know, you can spend 10 hours in front of Zoom and it's just too much. And so I'd like to offer an alternative way of being able to connect with people while we also move our bodies. So instead of having Zoom meetings, I've now resorted to having walking meetings. So I'll make a WhatsApp call with someone, and then together we'll go walking, and that's how we meet. And it's such a great way of being able to connect, obviously meeting people, and then also move your body, because otherwise if we don't do it, then we'll just sit in front of our computers the whole day. So sometimes I'll walk up to 2-3 hours a day just by having these meetings, and it's fantastic. Yeah, it revitalizes you. So in terms of, I'll just kick off by talking about one key lesson that I'd like to pass on. And I think it pertains to the theme of this the session, which is about leading with purpose. And so when we operate in uncertainty, we need to be guided by a very, very clear purpose. And purpose is about understanding our reason for being, right? Why do we exist? Why were we born? And sometimes people confuse it with profession. But purpose is more about being, whereas profession is about doing. And ideally, we should be able to align the two, where if our purpose is aligned with our profession, then alchemy happens, because work no longer becomes a chore, but it becomes part of your mission, and it can be extremely energizing. I'm reading this book it's called Give and Take by Adam Grant, And he cites a lot of research about how people who are driven by purpose are less likely to experience burnout than those who aren't driven by purpose.
Wow.
And so for me, having this purpose helps you to rise above adversity, especially during this time of crisis. It serves as as a compass, you know, it's like your true north that ensures that you're headed in the right direction. So imagine you sitting in your car, you know, and you're using your GPS. And so, you know, you punch in your end destination, and even if you get lost or you meander off your path, you know, the GPS will redirect you. And that's what purpose is like. It will redirect you to where you need to be, even when you get lost. Otherwise, we're like roaming around in the desert for years and years, aimlessly. And that purpose will ensure that we stay on course. And that is the one factor that I'd like to offer to women, to really have a very, very clear purpose and to be guided by that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lowe, for your input and insights and your remarks and your contribution today at this webinar. Sindi, Siswam?
I think what is important for me, I was listening to Prof when he was actually speaking earlier on, and Dr. Penny also spoke about that issue. The technological application for us as women is very important in this era. Because why I'm raising this issue is that if even now you look at the energy transition in the energy space, I mean, I've got my sister and my mother in rural areas who still walk a long distance to go and fetch wood and make fire. And yet we've got engineers who are, you know, sisters and mothers that can come up with technological applications that can actually assist those women in rural areas to have clean energy. So this is my input moving forward, that any application as women leaders, as executives, as key decision makers, let us think about those women that are on the grassroots. Let us think about those women that are emerging so that we give them power so that they can be elevated. And the second one is that there is no greater gift that you can give or receive than honor your calling. Because I think all of us, what we are doing today, we are serving our calling. So it's very important to connect with inner you to discover who you are in terms of your calling, so that you would be able to actually move forward and be a woman of purpose, like what Dr. Penny is saying, that when you're a woman of purpose or you're leading with purpose, you're not gonna be stressed because you know your role, you know where you're going to, you have a vision. And finally, I think I have, you know, women of grace, women of integrity, and trailblazers in the marketplace that have groomed me to be who I am today. I cannot finish this conversation by not thanking my dearest mother, Umamzanele Mbeki, because she really worked hard on me. I was a rough diamond. Today, I am the real diamond. Sis Yvonne, you must tell her. Must tell mommy that I'm a real diamond today because of what she has done. And Sis Janine, thank you so much. Thank you for the powerful platform. I'm really humbled to be in this platform.
Wow, thank you, Sindi, for your energy, your enthusiasm, your insights, and your contribution this afternoon. It's very, very much appreciated. Please, may I ask Totsie, your final remarks, and perhaps you can, you know, also hone in on that last question about the advice that you can give to an aspiring woman leader.
I think for me, the key is for us to be mission-oriented, especially during these difficult times, because in that depressed state that we're at, we're likely to get lost on what it is that we had set ourselves to actually achieve. And we need to be bold in what it is that we had set up, and make sure that we reorientate and come back and deliver what it is that we had actually set ourselves to start with. When we said it's 2020, we're going to have a great year, and everything fell off and we're not sure as to where to go, we need to remain bold. we need to make sure that we try as much as we can to keep those deadlines in terms of things that we had set ourselves to achieve, and make sure that we're cross-sectional, but more than anything else, to allow ourselves to experiment. It's an interesting time. It's a difficult time, but it's also an interesting time for us to learn new skills, to connect differently with people, and to do things not the way we've always done, because this is going to be the new normal.
Thank you so much, Totsie. You really hit it on the nail in terms of we must not throw out the plans we had for ourselves. I mean, I know when the year started, we were all saying, yeah, 2020, then COVID came. And then now people are so disheartened and not seeing through what they planned for themselves in 2020. So thank you for just reigniting that in us and reminding us that what we've set out to do is still important today. May I ask, Totsie has spoken. I'm looking at my clock here. I think I've lost. There's Dr. Penny has spoken, Sindi has spoken. I can't see Janine. Janine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Great. Please give us your closing remarks.
No, thanks, Bassi. And I'm obviously very conscious of the time. So I think balance, just very, very briefly, I completely concur with all my sisters. And I couldn't agree with you more. And it is about inspiring others at the same time. But balance, I found personally, has helped me through this period of time. I now have a Friday afternoon off. I make sure that I block a Friday afternoon off. I have never done that in my entire career. Thursdays are for my prayer time, my meditation time. That is when I interact with my ashram, and that's a dedicated time. So it is about that balance. And I loved what Dr. Penny said. I'm definitely going to take up on that walking meeting. Thank you for that. I've done a little bit about that, but having your confirmation on that has reinstated. So I think about the balance is crucial, because we need to exercise, the healthy eating, and take care of ourselves. I need to take care of myself. So blessings to everybody.
Thank you so much. Prof. Singer, did I give you an opportunity to give us your closing remarks?
Very quickly, if you can dream it, you can do it. But what it really means is to have faith. I think I believe in God, and the power of prayer, the power of being positive. I have surrounded myself with only people that have God values, that are healthy, that are godlike. That's going to see us all through. If Viktor Frankl survived the concentration camp by being positive, I think we can survive this and much more. And as people of South Africa, we are resilient, and we are going to see this through together. And we're not going to get this COVID to let us down. We're going to survive and thrive, because we're going to be much stronger and better people. And we're not going to take any more crap from anybody as women, because there's no more time. It's like, really, no, whatever. Life is short, it's beautiful, and let's celebrate it together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you, everybody.
That's beautiful. Yvonne, close with us. Give us your closing remark, and I'm really going to beg you to just sing us a note or two, perhaps.
I always think funny, but I just want to say thank you to Regenesys and to you, Bassi, for really conducting this amazing and very educational platform. We slept in one country and woke up in another country. There was COVID. We can't even predict the future. We don't know what is happening to us. But I think once we know and realize that every person is unique and special, and every human being is a miracle of creation, we'll learn to accept ourselves and say yes, and accept guidance, and say we will be guided by those who came before us. And in closing, really, I want to say, with everything that I've learned from different people and from my travels and everywhere, I am grateful for the blessings in my life now, and I accept the events in my life as a gift of growth and create strength of character as the strength of faith. And today I cry gratitude for life And I want to say thank you for everything that I have. And before I close, I want to say, I'm an inspiration, bringing education on gender equalization. So much sensation, feel the vibration, singing peace to the nation. I bring life to this earth, recognize my worth. Goba mina gilikawe. Tomorrow is for my children, the future we can change, the world we will rearrange. I am passion, courage, efficiency. I'm a woman, well organized man. I'm so different, but equal with a meticulous plan. Let me show you who I am, a woman.
Wow.
Wow. Oh,
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that was awesome. Goosebumps. Can't thank you enough, ladies, for an incredible afternoon. My heart is full. My soul is full. I'm more better for having been with you this afternoon than I came. I've grown so much more and I'm inspired. And just want to say thank you once again for opening your hearts and your souls to sharing your stories and helping us to navigate this new normal as we move forward. With that, may I ask Indrani to want to do closing remarks, but I also just have to recognize and acknowledge our sponsors for this webinar. Clicks, Sobe, and Mangwani African Spa have given us fabulous gifts for our panelists. So watch out, ladies, some goodies are coming your way. Thank you so much and God bless. Indrani?
I resonate with you, Basi. My heart feels like it's in overflow listening to such a dynamic conversation. The authenticity and the vulnerability and just purposeful leadership came across so strongly. I think there was just estrogen flowing over Zoom completely today. So well done to all the panelists. It was just amazing. Thank you, Basi, for being the oxygen today that has really fired this discussion and fanned it on authentic and purposeful leadership. I think the authenticity and the confidence that was exuded, but it complemented so much the sensitivity and the empathy that these goddesses on our panel today symbolize and also practice in their beingness. We didn't just have talkers, we had people that just have the ability to being and live leadership. So to our viewers out there, I'm sure each of them are taking out a gem for themselves in their own transformation today. I'd like to thank each of you. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you for your contribution. And thank you for being you and what you are to the world, a true gift and gem. Happy Women's Day to all of you. We'd love to thank again Sobe, Clicks, and Mangwanani for so generously sponsoring our panelists today. So look out, there'll definitely be a door-to-door delivery, and we'll get it to you in Cape Town as well. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Basi. You did an amazing job.
Thank you so much, Indrani. Cheers, ladies. Lots of love.
Thank you, everybody. It was awesome. Bye.
Thank you very much. Wonderful meeting those that we... Thank you.